So we have number 4. And we call this law negative law. Negative law. So now, what did this law state? When you have a negative power and it's trying to pose stress or trying to disturb your calculation, there's a way you can find your way around it. So now, for example, that is our interpretation of the law. This is minus n. You see that here, the number or the letter, let's use letter, the letter here is carrying a negative power. So for us to be able to remove this negative power, we introduce 1. And this is b1 all over b raised to the power of n. So if I give you this and you can transform to this form, and if I give you this, you can as well transform to this form. So in whichever way, it is correct. So this is the interpretation of the negative law. So once a number is raised to a negative power, or a letter is raised to a negative power, we can always remove the negative sign by introducing 1 on top of the number. So now let's look at an example. If we have example, simplify the following. A, we have x minus 4 multiplied by x minus 5. First and foremost, we have multiplication law, at the same time we have negative law. So you can decide which one to go first. So let's go by the multiplication law first. Now if we have x is a common base, so we take one of them, and the multiplication law says we should add the powers together. So we have minus 4 plus minus 4, and that gives us what? X minus 4 minus 4. Okay, this is 5. So this is 5. So that gives us x minus 9. So now we have explained negative law. So you cannot stop at this level again. So you have to apply this law. So that gives us 1 all over s raised to the power of 9. And that becomes the final answer. So let's look at the second example on that law. So let's look at the second example on that law. Okay, we have second example. We have p minus 4 multiplied by p raised to the power of 2. So let's have it here. We have a common base. We take one of the p. The first power is minus 4. And then since it's multiplication, we are adding plus 2. And that gives us p. This minus this will give us minus. So 4 minus 2 will give us 2. And since we have done negative law, we cannot stop at that level. So this becomes our final answer. So if you have any question, if you have any problem under these laws that we have covered so far, you can as well go to your comment section and post your questions. I will attend to them. Look at law number 5. And the law number 5 is power law. That is the name I give it. Power law. Now, this power law has 2 cases. The first case, we have 2 cases. The first case 1. Let me give an illustration to explain. If I have b raised to the power of n, and this whole thing is raised to another power of n, this is power law. So the interpretation of this law says that you are going to multiply the powers together. So this will give us m multiplied by n. So that will give us b n n. That is the first interpretation of this law. Then the second case of our power law an illustration here. If I have 2 raised to the power of n and then p raised to the power of m, and the whole of this is raised to power q. So the whole of this is raised to power q. The interpretation simply means that you are going to multiply each of these power by the power outside. So therefore we have 2 raised to the power of n multiplied by q times p raised to the power of n multiplied by q. So those are the 2 cases when it comes to power law. So let's look at a given example. Okay, example number 1. Evaluate a x raised to the power of 2 bracket 3. Okay. 2 is small. Okay, I think this is more visible now. So the first power here that is inside the bracket is 2. The outside power is 3. So according to our power law, we'll bring out the x. We now have 2 multiplied by 3. And that gives us x raised to the power of 6. So let's look at another one briefly. If we have 2p raised to the power of 3 and all of it is raised to the power of 2. So you see that we have 2 members here. 2 which is raised to the power of 1, p which is raised to the power of 3, and all of this is raised to the power of 2. So therefore we apply our power law. This will give us 2 first. The initial power of 2 is 1, multiplied by this 2, and then multiply by p. The first power of p is 3, and this is 2. So therefore we are having 2 raised to the power of 2 and p raised to the power of 6. And that becomes our final answer. So if you have any question under this, you can as well go to your comment section and ask your questions. I will attend to them.